And there was almost 500 people in my class, and I was in the band. So I was always pushed through with class schedules, mostly band members. So I didn't meet a lot of my classmates, and it was weird because I went to like the 5-year reunion, and I was like, I don't know these people. I would recognize the name, but I didn't remember ever doing anything with it.
Go that way, right underneath the light.
I was, Boone County class of 59. And then Gary was the very first graduating class.
Okay.
Our grade for largest graduating class. That even got high school for now.
Yeah.
We had 365. One of our members lost. More like me, I'm Gary is probably graduating class.
Fridays are typically like it's easiest to we had so I was sick and Friday's not my choice.
So funny.
So good afternoon, everybody. If you don't know who I am, I'm Julie Pyle. I'm the president of the club this year. Ian Addington, who's right here in the front, will be taking over in July, and then Mark Wilby, who's back. Mark, raise your hand. Will be after Ian. Kind of forgive me here. I'm playing multiple hats. There is a card coming around. Will Baker lost his uncle on Friday, and so that's what the card is for. Needless to say, I'm wearing multiple hats. I'm live streaming, controlling, and all that stuff. So have patience with me. It's been a while since I've done this. So we'll go ahead and get started. Team 6. I don't think anybody from Team 6 responded. Anybody want to step in for me and do prayer pledge or my podcast? Takers. Thank you, Garrett.
Father God, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the blessings of life. Just thank you for the health you've given us to be here today. Father, just grateful being to have the opportunity to serve with the in Rotary. Maybe just remember the service of no self is what the club is all about. Be with Will at his loss of his uncle and just comfort him. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. That's the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Number first,
is it true?
Next,
It is fair to all concerned.
Third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendship?
and last.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Great job.
Stepping in.
Yes, we have visitors today. Connie say hello. Connie, welcome to the Florence Rotary. I have to hear you get to ride around with Wayne Harden.
I sure do.
My sympathies.
My pleasure.
All right, thanks for being here, Connie. Margaret Lee, where's Margaret? She's been back. Yes, Margaret.
Yep.
I know you've been here. Tell us again.
My name is Margaret. I'm the program coordinator for Boone County Alliance, and that is a group of community members focused on youth, health, and substance abuse. So membership application is submitted, so I'm excited to join you in the future.
I think you have a very good candidacy. Better than everybody on Tuesdays. James Walker's back with us. Welcome back, James. Remind me what you do. I'm getting kind of old.
Services helping small business owners be more efficient, safe.
Great. Welcome, James. And then we have Mr. Steve Wildenhoff, who needs no introduction, but go ahead, Steve. Can you still get up?
I'm here to check on you.
Yeah, he's doing great. We can't find you. That's the whole thing. You're out hunting somewhere.
That's right.
Welcome. The Reds are still playing baseball, or at least getting paid to do that. If you enjoy baseball, the high school tournaments are going on. If you want to see somebody with passion and get some hits, Ryle, that's my Boone County Rebels 2-1. Connor upset Cooper. So that would be the finals of the district. Both of those teams will go on to the regional. And then Dennis's grandson plays for RCoFKy. They beat Holmes, and they're on their way to play Beachy Tech tomorrow. Beachfoot for you guys. Not from around here, it's Beachy Tech. It's always been that. But there's a little bit of golf tournament down in Louisville. Half million people, and hot and hilly. Yeah, but a lot of good crowd, good winter. I didn't see it down there. I didn't go there. So that big tall guy, been looking good. Have you got any mirrors in there? That's about all. Thanks for filling double, triple hats, whatever you're doing there.
Okay, Paul is not here.
Come on in.
The High River Suite cleanup is June 1st, along with multiple other things we have going on that day. I think that's down in Carroll's Conrad Park. If you did not see, did anybody not see the email that Will sent out? The video, everybody see it? Okay. He did a great job of putting that together. It was real nice to be able to wrap that project up from our district grant that we had received. And then we also just finished our first year as one-to-one reading coaches. So that's on the other slide to get ahead of myself. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that video. The one-to-one reading coaches, we finished that up. We had a celebration where we got to have donuts and juice and coffee with our little ones. So right here is Will's little one, Landon, my little one, Elijah. So we had a lot of fun with those kids. It was a great time, and we're gonna be back this next year. But that was also funded by one of our district grants, which when we get to Greg, will tell us the importance of June 1st. So they're looking for coaches next year. We had our big scholarship presentation a couple weeks ago. We had Rotarians who are, oops, Matt's head is covered up there in the top. But we have Rotarians go out and give the plaques to the students at the school support and break them down to Waltham Rooms.
7:30 in the morning.
Thank you, Greg.
I didn't go to school that early.
Oh, and I have to thank Ian for the one-to-one breakfast celebration. He helped coordinate the donuts and the juices. Let's see what else we got. Citizen of the Year, we're taking the nominations. That's up on the website. You can submit those. Clay shoot. Mark or Ian want to talk about clay shoot and all?
Clay shoot's coming up. This is our last meeting before that Saturday, since we're off next week, but it's always a fun time. If you don't know how to shoot, we can teach you. $500 gets you a foursome in the group, or $100 per shooter. I don't know, Mark, you got anything else you want to add? But I love to join us. Yeah.
Yeah. Other events, my little Zoom things coming up. Play shoot, the Clean River Sweep, Boone County Fair. We need people. That's the Wednesday night of the fair to take admissions. We are in the air conditioned admission boxes, so it's not miserable. It's a lot of fun. You wouldn't think it would be, but it is. And then Florence Business Council, if anybody in this, I know a number of our members have been going to that. We actually are the spotlight of the nonprofit on August 15th at the Florence Business Council. And then let's see what else we got. Great.
I've been a Rotarian for 23 years. And usually when somebody talks about going to a district conference, I just kind of put my head down and look the other way. But I got to tell you, this past Saturday was our conference. It was a one-day event. You didn't have to spend the night unless you just wanted to. It started at 3, it was over at 9:30 that night, and it was incredible. We had a speaker that got everybody fired up and excited. She pointed out that everybody in this room is doing great. You woke up on the green side. And you didn't have a white chalk outline around your body. And you woke up in the United States of America, which is the greatest country the world's ever seen. Home of the free, land of the brave, unlimited possibilities. Anything you choose to do. You heard the same thing from Mr. McDonald's last week. Pick a goal, work hard, pray hard, you will accomplish that goal. Nothing's going to stop you because of your color, your sex, your age, your religion. Nowhere else in the world or in history has that been the truth. And her message was to be positive, change your language. You're not stressed, you're in demand. I like that. It was a great time. And so I just want to say to you, if you ever have a chance to do a district-wide meeting or event, don't scratch your eyebrow. Think about it, make room in your calendar. It's worth the trouble. And one of those is coming up, another thing on June 1st. I know we all got things to do, but that'll be our district-wide foundation celebration. It's the last push to raise some money for the foundation. In 3 years, half that money comes back to our district to be spent on what we want, like one-to-one reading and outdoor classrooms. We're trying to raise $120,000 this year, which means in 3 years, $60,000 comes back for our district to use. So if you're available, please come. We're going to be at Triple Crown at 6 o'clock. You'll be getting an email this week with a way to register. Tomorrow, wonderful.
Yeah, I've got it.
And if you can't come, feel free to open your wallet and just hand it to me. I'll be glad to help out any way I can. Thank you.
Hey, Greg, is this a new trend, the one-day district conference rather than a multi-day event?
It's happening more and more around the country. Lots of districts are doing it. Next year, we know that we're going to have a combined district conference in Chattanooga, and it'll be a 2-day thing. So it's not, it's a trend, but it's not something that's common yet. And next year, not next year, but the year after that, the conference will be here in Northern Kentucky. I'll have to plan it, so I'm looking for help on that. And I think we're going to have a overnight. I think we're going to have a 2-day thing, just because Lexington was easy for most of the district to travel to in a couple hours. We're a little bit farther away from our folks, so we'll probably have it a 2-day thing. We're looking into, I've been told that there is still a lab at Children's Hospital that was what Dr. Sabin used to develop the first vaccine in the 50s. Right now, this year, there's been 4 cases of wild polio reported. So it's a great possibility that in 26, we'll be able to say we're polio free. And if that's the case, and we're going to the Sabin lab, I think that would just be a wonderful way to celebrate the accomplishment of Rotary. So that's what we're working on. I don't see Dennis, so I'll just go ahead and rope him in. He's going to get his tickets to the Reds game. Make sure I told him.
I'll tell him.
You point that out to him. All right. Thank you.
All right.
And Sean will tell us who won if we don't go.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, DAC TV, don't forget to log your hours. When Susan is gonna start grabbing people as they come, not literally, figuratively. When they come into meetings, people who don't have their information update or complete DAC TV, and you're actually gonna do it here at the meeting, because we really need that information updated. Happy dollars, somebody have happy dollars? Happy. Okay, well, I haven't paid yet, but I'll put it in. So this week is kind of a busy, big week for me. I like.
You're in demand.
In the man.
In demand. So I'm heading tomorrow morning to DC and presenting a conference twice. They've actually still present twice on Wednesday with my colleague, the parent camp. My colleague Laura is actually coming here, which is really exciting for the outstanding women in Northern Kentucky on Thursday. So hopefully see some of you there on one.
Hang on a second. I thought about it. I got one.
Okay,
I talked slow.
Got a, graduate from 8th grade from St. Paul, going on to St. Henry. Got an academic scholarship to go to St. Henry, which is renewable, so that, eases a tremendous burden on me, so.
Anybody else?
I do have one too.
Okay.
My granddaughter Carol. And I'll read my daughter, Dr. Kelly said the last couple minutes, this is a kindergartner. And that's what, part of the Panther of the Month, the North 1,000 word club. Top 5% reading, most improved at dance. And she just was promoted from daisies to brownies.
Wow.
I'll do one. My son is a freshman at Connor High School and he was nominated by the band director to, there's something called, I think it's Music Abroad, where it's a collection of Kentucky students, 260, I believe it is, that are nominated to go to the UK, Sweden, Netherlands, and Germany to play music for 16 days.
That's hard. There we go. Now we're, okay, Mark.
My granddaughter is graduating from high school. And in fact, we're going down this Friday this year. She's going to be speaking, but she's second in her class of 480. She was very blessed. I'm very blessed because she received the full ride to Emory University, $85,000 a year.
That's
She goes in as a sophomore because she's not. That's what
That's-
one of the pocket happy.
It's not my fault. That's okay. Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Dawn to interview. Oh, no, it's Carrie, it's Mary to introduce.
Can I just stay here or do I need to do up? All right. So I wound up with a pretty long introduction. He's been a little busy, just to let you know.
In the bank.
So our speaker today is Judge Anthony Frohlich. He is retired. However, he does currently work for the state of Kentucky as a felony judge mediator. He has previously served as chief circuit judge for the Kentucky's 54th Judicial Circuit, which covers Boone and Gallatin counties. Prior to becoming a judge, he had a private law practice for 24 years. He has also served as a master commissioner, a domestic relations commissioner, and an assistant Commonwealth attorney. He graduated from NKU and then went on to graduate first in his class from Salmon P. Chase College of Law. He's held several, I'm going to say numerous civic and legal positions. He created a mediation program that has been adopted in the state of Kentucky as well as in other jurisdictions. He served as a visiting law professor. He has multiple honors, including the Kentucky Bar Association Distinguished Judge of the Year Award, the Kentucky Justice Association Trial Judge of the Year Award, Northern Kentucky University Outstanding Alumnus Award, the Salmon P. Chase Lifetime Achievement Award, Boone County Historic Preservation Board's Adaptation Preservation Award, say that one twice, the Ann Fitzgerald Research Award, Boy Scouts of America's Award of Merit and Leadership, and the Bruce Ferguson Award for Sustained Excellence in Historic Preservation. He doesn't stop with just being a judge and doing all the legal stuff or the historical stuff. He also holds the National Coaching License from the United States Soccer Federation and the National Coaches Association, and was the head coach of the USA National DHL men's team in the DHL World Championship in Belgium in 1999 and 2000. And for the last 2 years, I have been working with Judge Frohlich on the Boone County Archive Commission. So it is my pleasure to welcome Judge Anthony Frohlich.
Well, it's good to be back.
Nice to have you. Thanks. Thanks for letting me hunt on your place. I can't think of a better place to talk about what's going on in our civic institutions in the next 3 years than at a Rotary Club. A few key things coming up, and I want to share those with you. This year is the 225th anniversary of the creation of Boone County. We have this rich history that predates the creation of our county. You know, you go back and look at the history books, it talks about we have 34 Revolutionary War soldiers in Boone County. You know, over the years when I was writing books and doing research, I knew that was right. So about 5 years ago, you know, I started really digging into it, and I've written biographies now on about 110 Revolutionary War soldiers who actually died and are buried in Boone County, and over 300 own land in Boone County. Also, when you look at the history books, it talks about John Tanner and the creation of Tanner Station, which was the Petersburg as we know it today. But we never get before that event. That was about 1789. So there's nothing in history books about how Boone County was created. We know for thousands of years the Indians were living here. We've got evidences of villages. We've done excavations. We find the villages. We do know that explorers came to Boone County very early in the history of America. We know that French explorers were at Big Bone Lick in 1739. We know that there was a French map maker named Jacques Nicolas Boone who presented a map of America to the French king and his court in 1744. And on that map was Big Bone Lick. Explorers used the Ohio to travel. We have lots of journals from early explorers in the 1700s in which they talked about stopping at Big Bone Lick. The earliest claims to land in Boone County started at Big Bone Lick. So for the last 5 years, I've been trying to go into what happened before John Tanner got. Becoming a landowner in Boone County came through several different ways. We know from the French and Indian Wars that lasted over a period of many, many years. It was a series of wars. And we know that the King of England in 1763, in order to get colonists to fight for him, started promising land in the West. And part of that land that he promised was in Boone County. Depending on their rank and years of service, soldiers could get unclaimed land for the number of years that they provide that military service. And these rewards of lands became known as King's Warrants. And I'll give you an idea a little bit of how ownership starts in America. Before the United States was created, the King of England owned all the land in America. And the first transfer would come from a deed from the king or through his governors. When the Revolutionary War started, Virginia said, we own all the land in the West now, particularly that land known as the Kentucky County. And so the first transfer would come from the Virginia governor. When Kentucky became a state, the first deed comes from the Kentucky governor. Believe it or not, there's still land in Kentucky that's never been claimed. One of our governors I think it's about 6 years ago, issued a deed to somebody for unclaimed land in one of the counties in the West. The process of claiming land from the king or the governor is called patenting. It works like this. You get the right to claim a certain amount of land, and that is called a warrant. Then you identify the land that you want to claim, and that's called entering the warrant. And there's generally a book that's called an entry book that records what you're trying to claim. The next step is you have your land surveyed. And then the last step is an execution of a patent deed. And that vests title in the first transferee of the property. And that comes from the king or from the governor. So since I started this project about 5 years ago, I've so far found 22 patent deeds based upon the King's Warrants in Boone County. And that patent deeds total 30,142 acres. I'm going to share 3 of those warrants with you because they were issued to persons who become key officers in the Revolutionary War. And the 300 people I was talking about, that Revolutionary War soldiers that own land in Boone County I found so far, a lot of those were our founding fathers and famous people that you all read in your American history books. So Boone County was a desirable piece of property in the early forming of our country. The first one I want to tell you about is William Christian.
He surveyed 1,000 acres on May 12, 1774, which of course was Big Bone Lick area. He was the first person to get a survey, and the first land he claimed was Big Bone Lick, and that was based upon his service in the French and Indian War. Brigadier General Hugh Mercer surveyed 5,000 acres on the most northern part of Boone County on the Ohio River on May 9, 1744. And then John David Whooper surveyed 2,000 acres on the Ohio River in June of 1775. Tanner Station, which is the first settlement in Boone County, was located on that land. And actually, John Tanner was the third person to own that piece of property when he actually built that station. So there's a lot of history that is in the history books with respect to Boone County. During the Revolutionary War, there were many disputes in Kentucky over ownership of land. As a colony of Virginia claimed ownership of all the land in Kentucky, they passed a law in 1779 to help settle disputes over this land, but also a way of financing the Revolutionary War. They created the Virginia Land Commission, and I'll summarize for you the components of this key legislation. Number one, Virginia recognized King's warrants, so they were still valid. Number two, anybody who claimed land or settled land prior to January 1, 1778 and can prove they lived on that land for greater than a year or raise a crop of corn on it could get 400 acres free. They also established something called preemption warrants. A person who had a settlement claim and could prove their settlement claim could buy another 1,000 acres around their 400 acres at a certain price. Or anyone who made an improvement to property could buy the right to buy that property up to 1,000 acres at a certain price. That was called, generally they're called also chop claims. People would go in and just chop the trees and chop out 1,000 acres and then claim that as an improvement. And that was, and then there was also the right to purchase warrants from the Virginia Treasury. That Virginia Land Act of 1779 created a commission of 4 commissioners who were empowered to hear all claims to land. The hearings were from October 1, 1779 to January 26, 1780. So you're basically talking about 4 months in which to prove your claims. The hearings were held at Logan's Fort, Boonesboro, Harrodsburg, the fort at the Falls of the Ohio, which we now call Louisville, and Bryan Station. Reports contained in a document that we now call the Doomsday Book. And they called it that as a nickname because there was no appeal from this committee. So whatever the commission decided, that's what you were stuck with. Cool little story is the Doomsday Book was lost for many, many years. And then about 9 to 10 years ago, the Fayette County clerk called Candy Atkinson, and I don't know if they know who she is, but she works for the Secretary of State's office. She just retired this year. She worked there for 45 years. She's pretty much the person who created this great record system we have right now. It's a call from Fayette County and says, our deed book A, we can't really figure out what it is. She goes over there and it's the Doomsday's book that's been lost for 220 years. So anyway, we now have that. And that's where a lot of the research we're able to do now. All right, so settlement warrants. I've only found one settlement warrant so far in Boone County. Gentleman by the name of John Briscoe Jr., who was a great early explorer, friend of Daniel Boone. He got 400 acres for planting corn in 1775 in Boone County. He purchased a preemption warrant for 1,000 more acres. A guy by the name of Thomas Mitchell and another guy by the name of Thomas Ryan, each claimed a preemption and they got 1,000 acres apiece. Thomas Ryan was another one of those famous Indian fighters. There's books written about him. Now there's 11 more preemption warrants in Boone County, and they're all related. They all join each other. Those of you who know American history and recognize the name of William Lynn. William Lynn was the great Revolutionary War soldier who basically saved the West by going down to New Orleans and buying gunpowder, and got captured by the English. He escaped, ended up sneaking back up the Mississippi River with 10,000 pounds of gunpowder. Anyway, he had led 11 Revolutionary War soldiers into Boone County, and they did chop claims. So we know we have those 11 people all joining each other. And you'll see 1 or 2 of their names in history books. Their names are Charles Howard, Francis Cunningham, William Phillips, Thomas Brazier, Simon Burney, George Everett, William Williams, William Holiday, John Lewis Jr., John White, and Thomas Bryan. Thomas Bryan was also one of the Bryan brothers who did Bryan Station. And Thomas Bryan also funded Dan Boone's first 2 expeditions into Kentucky. So despite popular belief, and I know you read these in the history books, but it's not true. No land in Boone County was ever awarded for service in the Revolutionary War. These type of warrants, Revolutionary War warrants, are only allowed for military districts, and none of the land in Boone County is a military district. So when you read that, it's just not true. Everything else that came through Boone County was purchased through Treasury warrants. And that's when you go in, you pay the Virginia Treasury a certain amount of money, and for that money, you get a certain amount of acres back. And then in the end, the Virginia governor would sign the patent deed. So far, I've found 97 patent deeds issued by Virginia governors, and they total 534,616 acres. Found 26 patent deeds based on Treasury warrants issued by Kentucky governors for 92,893 acres. So our county surveyor, Greg Larson, and I have been working on this for several years, trying to plot all these surveys back into a county map. He's actually gone out into the field and he's finding monuments from the surveys in the 1780s. Now I'm going to tell you, it's difficult to do this work. It's difficult to find early deeds because nowadays we just go to our Boone County clerk's records and our deeds are recorded there. Well, that's not how it was done in the early days. You could report a Boone County deed in any county in Kentucky. You could file it in the Court of Appeals records. You could file it in the Court of Quarter Session records. You could file it in any county in Virginia or any county in West Virginia. So that's where you got to go to find some of this stuff. So it's pretty challenging to figure out the creation of our county. So Boone County ended up being created by the General Assembly of Kentucky on December 13th, 1798. It's carved out of Campbell County. And our founding fathers of Boone County met at the home of William Cave to start our county. John Hall, John Connor, John Brown, Archibald Houston, and Archibald Reed became justices of peace. Dave Johnson was elected to clerk. Thomas Allen was sworn as coroner. Moses Scott became surveyor. John Cave was commissioned sheriff. The governor had first commissioned John Bush as sheriff, but he had declined the appointment. County seat was established on Craig's Creek on land donated by Robert Johnson and John Hawkins Craig. The name was changed to Wilmington in 1816 and then changed to Burlington. So we're going to celebrate all this on June 1. It's kind of a big event. There's community events all through the year, and you can get that on the Boone County Fiscal Court website for the calendar. The committee is headed by Bridget Stryker and Greg Larson. The theme for the celebration is Frontier to the Future. It's at the event will start at the Burlington Commons. Barry Reiser will be leading us off with singing the Star Spangled Banner at that event. Once we conclude that event, we're going up to the fairgrounds, and it'll go all day till in the evening when it's finished with fireworks. There are going to be historical entertainment, bands all throughout the day, touch a truck, plastic car show, farmers market, animal shelter is going to have adoptions. Arboretum on Wheels will be there. There's going to be a children's area, face painting, balloons, that kind of stuff. Chalk Fest, a fishing competition, community partner tables, historical demonstrations, stump speeches, food, fireworks. There's a commemorative souvenir book. It's all in color. It's at the printer right now. Hope to get it by next Monday. Many agencies and cities are contributing their own special touch to the celebration. I know the Boone County Sheriff has been doing it in a different way. Each deputy has a special badge. If you see one of the deputy badges, they're really cool. So if you see a deputy, say, let me see that badge. They've issued their own challenge coin. They've done commemorative bourbon bottles from the Boone County Distillery. And Josh, how many barrels are they up to now? Because the demand keeps going up.
5, I think.
5, okay. They started out with 1, and now the demand pre-orders are up to 5 barrels.
What does 5 mean? It's about 1,000 bottles.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, so that's that first event. Let's move over to the second event. The 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, so July 4th, 2026. That event again will take place at the Boone County Fairgrounds. No admission fee. The head of the committee is Robin Bennett. The whole event is focused on patriotism and civic responsibility. The committee's doing a lot of events honoring military veterans. I know that the Daughters of the American Revolution, Sons of the American Revolution have a lot of events scheduled on the Revolutionary War soldiers. Some of the events that Robin Bennett's committee is doing include an essay contest for students on the topic of the Constitution and civic duty. And I will tell you, the schools have gotten in big time into this particular event. They have been great in supporting it. There's an art contest for students on 3 topics. They can choose the Revolutionary War Battle of Lafayette Island, which is the only Revolutionary War battle that took place actually in Boone County. Or they can do Tanner Station, which I said before was the first settlement in Boone County, or the discovery of Big Bone Lick. There's an open contest for all Boone County residents on design of a challenge coin for this event. The competition opens up on January 1, 2025, and the submission date is June 30th, 2025. There'll be a stump speech contest for students using famous speeches. At the event that's happening for the 225th anniversary, it's actually going to be politicians doing stump speeches. That's going to be able to be done. It's in demand by Judge Gary Moore, so it's at his request. He won the one back in, I guess, the year he first got elected. He got the honor of being the best speech stump giver. So we're going to do that for students this year, or that year. There'll be a booth at the July 4th, 2026 event where veterans will receive a special cockade, and we're collecting data on Boone County veterans. On that date, I'll be releasing my next book, which is on Revolutionary War soldiers in Boone County. Hillary Delaney of the Archive and History Center will be releasing a book on stories about a listing of all the Boone County War veterans from the French and Indian War up through the Korean War, and great stories about our military veterans, some of their experiences, and I think it's going to be a very special book. Also, at the booth at the July 4th, 2026, we're going to start trying to collect data post-Korean War. The government has a 72-year rule where you can't get into military records on individuals until 72 years after the end of a conflict. But we're going to start trying to do that at that event. All right, the last event occurs next year. It's going to be a celebration of the creation of the Borderlands Archive and History Center. This committee is headed by Terry Herman, and serving on it is our county clerk, Justin Krigler, and circuit clerk, David Martin. And also coincides with the 50 years anniversary of the Boone County Library. As a county, we're blessed in so many ways. The county's never suffered a fire or any type of disaster at its courthouses. And I'm telling you, that's not the way it is in the rest of Kentucky or most of our country, just because of the problems courthouses have had with fires. I travel around the state filling in for judges. I've done that for many years, do research throughout the state. Nobody's got the kind of records that we got. Now, Kentucky law provides that every public agency is required to establish and monitor an active continuing program for the economical and efficient management of that agency's records. Part of the law requires the maintenance and security of records deemed appropriate for preservation. Kentucky law has something in it called retention schedules. Public document is assigned the most appropriate code for that particular record. The code determines whether that record is preserved forever, a certain amount of years, the method by which that decision is made. I will tell you, adhering to this law is expensive and time consuming for public agencies, and nobody does. I'm telling you, nobody does. It's a law that nobody follows. Most agencies that do anything with their public records, like the Kentucky Agency of Court is one of the better ones. They contract with the Department of Library and Archives to satisfy their obligations. But the problem is the documents are boxed up and sent to a warehouse in Frankfurt. And an issue with this method is basically you don't know how to find these records. You don't really know what's in these boxes, and they're hard to find. And you sometimes lose control on when these documents are going to get destroyed. And that's kind of how I got interested in this. Back when I took the bench, there were some documents I was looking for, and I found that they had been shipped to Frankfurt and they were no longer available. And that's when I knew that there was just a problem with Kentucky law. So about 2007, Judge Executive Gary Moore, and at that time I was the chief judge. We convened a committee to determine something to do with the old courthouse, because we had built a new justice center and entered it in 2005. It had been sitting there for a couple of years. The belfry in the attic was stuffed with all kinds of paperwork and records. We knew that they had a mold problem. So we got together, convened some leaders in the community to sort of try to decide what to do with the courthouse, try to decide what to do with the documents. Jennifer Frazier is our state law librarian. She's also a graduate of Palmer High School. Talked to her, worked out a deal where basically state law library picked up the cost of hiring a hazmat team and bringing a hazmat tent and emptying out that courthouse. And then became the process of what to do with these documents. Some of them we had to destroy. Some of them are now still sitting in sealed containers, waiting for the money to do something with. And we, like I said, we had to destroy some of these records. So, but during these committee meetings, we decided, first of all, what to do with the building, which we ended up doing the Ferguson Center we have right now, but also what to do with the tens of thousands of documents in the county clerk's possession, and also what to do with other public agencies. And we began the process of trying to figure out what the law would allow, getting some laws changed, getting the people in the right positions to agree that we should do something about it here in Boone County. In 2021, it all came together. In that year, Boone County Public Library agreed to partner with the county to address the problem. And I will tell you, like I said, it took a lot of work from a lot of people, but it never would happen without Carrie Herman stepping up and providing the leadership to get it done. She's been a tremendous leader. She's the one who's making it happen. They put so much pressure on her all the time, but she can carry the burden, and she's done a great job. But let me tell you how it works. And she probably ought to be up here talking about this instead of me, but I will finish it up. On April 27, 2021, the Boone County Fiscal Court created the Boone County Archive Commission. The duties and responsibilities and authority of the commission were designated as follows. 1, assist public entities of Boone County in implementing retention schedules promulgated by the Kentucky Department of Library and Archives. Number 2, serve as an advisory board to the Boone County Borderlands Archive and History Center at the Boone County Public Library. 3, assist Boone County and Boone County Borderlands Archive and History Center in creating memorandums of understanding in their local agreements. 4, assist Boone County Fiscal Court and related agencies in developing policies related to the use of government archive documents. And 5, present opportunities in county administration in covering lost or stolen public documents and pursuing such opportunities, including prosecution when authorized by the county judge executive. So with respect to this last one, that got put in there because theft has been a problem in Boone County over the years. People have got revenue stamps out of books. We actually retrieved our 1832 voting record out of an auction house in Cleveland that was auctioning an estate from someone. Our bound volumes of the Boone County Reporter from 1875 to 1969 were stolen, and they occasionally show up on the internet for sale. Oh, they're also the bound volume of the Burlington Advertiser newspapers. We had a newspaper that existed at least from 1849 up through 1875 called the Burlington Advertiser. The Fiscal Court established the membership of the Archive Commission as 3 citizens at large, director of the Boone County Public Library, Boone County Clerk, the Boone Circuit Clerk, and chairperson of the Boone County Historical Preservation Review Board. Simultaneously, the Boone County Library created the Borderlands Archive and History Center. It established its mission as to acquire, organize, preserve, conserve, and promote access to its collection of archival records, rare books, printed materials, non-textual materials to researchers, students, professionals, and general public. So what we've done has never been done in Kentucky before. In fact, I'm not sure it's been done anywhere. Basically, we're taking the attributes of a local history center, a federal and state depository, and an archive center whose records are available to the public and easily researchable. So the Borderlands Center has become an approved depository for federal documents, state documents, local public documents. First 3 years, we focused on the county clerk records, circuit clerk records, and private collections. The center has 3 levels of protective security. There's all the documents are stored in special acid-free containers. They're specially humidity controlled. They've got this special fire protections. The center's created a website and a search engine for finding these documents. So we already have thousands of county clerk records transferred to the center. It's not been an easy process. Just to give you an example, we went in and looked at 1799 to 1920, and there's various legal reasons why we stopped 1920, practical reasons. But when we went in there, and there was 4,544 linear feet of boxes of materials. Put in perspective, you know, we thought we had enough space at the library. Well, the library only had 1,890 linear feet available at that time. So they had to go and establish, you know, go spend money, and you know, because you got to put this stuff is expensive to do. So anyway, took bids from company to do the work. And the best bid we got was $26,000 for 5 weeks of work. And then they could give us a better estimate of what it would really cost. So we were looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars to do what needed to be done. So instead, we end up, you know, we're codifying these documents, getting them to retention schedules, getting them into the legal way that it needs to be done. So we went out and got volunteers, got retired judges, retired lawyers, retired paralegals. The staff of the archive center has spent a tremendous amount of hours there. So it took about 2 years of legal work, meetings, trips to Frankfurt to meet with agency heads and lawyers to get this amount of work done just for the first transfer. And I wish John Schick was here. He's usually here. But we got to the point where 2 years of work and we can't get the state to sign off on it. And so finally we set a meeting down in Frankfurt. And I walk into this room, and you know, it's loaded with lawyers, attorney general's office, agency staff, heads. What they didn't know was I was bringing John Schick with me. And I tell you, when I walked into that room and John Schick was with me, the attitude changed. So we got a sign. So that was the first transfer. Hate seeing him leave. We still have thousands of documents yet to be put in retention schedules before state approval can be sought for the next transfer. We're still working on that right now with all the same volunteers and trying to get new volunteers, and people are stepping up. It's just a lot of work. Circuit clerk records. I'm going to skip that because I only got a couple minutes left. So it's just a different circuit clerk records are a completely different set of walls. We made inroads there. We got the Supreme Court of Kentucky to change the rules. That he does the rules. And they basically rewarded us for some of the helping them make their system better. So a lot of good things are going to happen from the Supreme Court. During these past 3 years, we solicited and received unbelievable collections from private sources. These are governed by a special gift agreement between the donor and the center. There also are digitalization agreements between the center and other donors. So next year is that special event in which we're going to open up the doors, basically show everybody how the Borderlands Archive and History Center works. You get a view of, you know, the behind the scene view is what I guess I'm trying to say. So let me just end today with a couple of thoughts. What we're doing is a big challenge. Like I said, I don't know if anybody's doing what we're doing other than maybe the Library of Congress. It costs a lot of money. We apply for grants. We're in a fundraising process for the next 3 years. The Boone County Public Library has a foundation, which is a nonprofit, tax deductible. The Archive Commission entered into an agreement with that foundation for creating an earmarked special account, which we are calling the Patron Society. It's open to individuals or businesses. Become a member of the Patron Society. You have to give a tax deductible gift of at least $500. The patrons get a signed framed print of a watercolor of the Boone County Courthouse by artist Tom Gaither, who's specifically done it just for this event. It's kind of a cool looking print. There's 3 challenge coins that are coming out for the 225th anniversary of Boone County, the Borderlands Archive and History Center creation, the 250th anniversary of Declaration of Independence. You get those challenge coins, get a copy of the commemorative book for the 225th anniversary of Boone County, get an autographed hardbound copy of the book Timekeeper, You get an invitation to patron only events. The first event will be at the Boone County Distillery this fall. Gary Moore is going to MC that event. There's other events that are in the works to be scheduled for patrons. Patrons will be kept up to date with the new collections that are coming in. Anyway, I look around this room and I see many of you have already are patrons, so thank you all for or have already done. All right, so I told you how hard this has been from a legal standpoint. All these meetings, travels to Frankfurt, all the negotiations, and many drafts. But I will tell you, the Borderlands Archive and History Center is already receiving national recognition. That's pretty incredible. They've already received the Library of Congress Connection Communities Digital Initiative Award. They've already received the Dr. Martin Luther King Game Changer Award, the Kentucky Heritage Council Historical Preservation Award, and an award from the Daughters of the American Revolution. So not a bad start. So I hope that you come to these events. Like I said, the first one, June 1st, is at the fairgrounds. I hope you come. It's free. It'll be a great day. Come and support. Come hear Gary sing. And got any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Tony, is there any thought of scanning some of these documents electronically?
Yeah, it's done. Gary, you want to take over and tell them all? You give them the in-depth of how it works. I mean, I'm just amazed at what Carrie and her staff has done.
So we signed an agreement with a company for a digitization platform, and I kept telling them, I don't think you're getting how many records we have. I don't think you get how many records we have. We finally get it up and we're starting to choke their system as we were uploading everything that we have digitized into this system. And they finally came to us and said, we have the Air Force Museum and you have by far exceeded what they have digitized. I said, yeah, just wait, we're still going.
I'll tell you just one example. I got so much in debt to these volunteers. Boone County, when it was established from 1799 to 1815, there were 908 of things they dealt with. 475 of them had to do with creating roads because we had no roads in our county. To create a road generally takes 4 legal events, and there would be a piece of paper for each of those 4 legal events. So I did the roads myself. You go in, you dump out all these boxes, and then you go and say, well, which one of these little piece of papers have to do with roads? So you put them into the file for roads. And then you start trying to get them into years so you can get close. A road might take 1 year, 2 years, or whatever to get done. And so you start grouping them there. So, you end up, the goal is to find the 4 pieces of paper for all of them. The road from Tanner Station to the new courthouse, we have all 4 pieces of paper. Now they can't, it's incredible to think about that. Our first, that we have that in our account. And that's the kind of things that we're doing and preserving forever because they're in acid-free folders. They're in acid-free dividers. They're in this humidity control. So we'll have these things forever. It's pretty incredible. And this stuff's expensive. These materials are expensive. I'm always trying to find ways to find money, to do it next. The goal is that every public agency will budget this into their budgets at some point in time, but you just can't go in and do it from the beginning.
Tony, will you stick around for some extra questions?
I will. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
And I'm working.
So Judge, we'd like to thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And when you filled out your speaker form, you requested a book
Okay.
title. And so this book, as you earlier in our opening remarks, we talked about our one-to-one reading program. So we are donating this book in your name to the Stevens Elementary Library.
Thank you so much.
Because we know the importance of students being able to read by the 3rd grade reading level. That's the highest indicator of success. So this book will be donated in your honor.
Thank you.
And just a reminder, everybody, meeting next week because it's Memorial Day, start of the summer season. Yay. And then the next week after that will be the hospice is going to be joining us, because we haven't heard from them at all. So everybody have a great week.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And have you been, I dropped by your office, how are you?